What's going on, guys? This is the Going for Two podcast, episode number 2. I'm your co-host Hunter Waldrop.
What's up, guys? I'm Jansen Jasperson, and today we're going to be covering the Big Ten.
That's right. But before we get into all that, we're gonna talk about the Heisman and who we think are the favorites and some dark horses or sleepers or whatnot. So let's go ahead and get right on into it, Jance. What you say?
All right, I'm down. Let's go.
All
Let's
right,
get
let's
into it.
go. I'll let you kick it off with the. We'll start with the dark horses. We'll
All right,
start with those and then get into the more obvious choices.
sounds
So
good.
you go with your first dark
So
horse and go ahead.
my sleepers that I have for the Heisman are I like Tyler Van Dyke at Miami. I think him
Yeah,
and Mario Cristobal are going to be very good together, and plus I think
yeah,
Mario's
absolutely.
offense is going to make a big impact at Miami, and I think Tyler Van Dyke will fit in great with him.
Yeah,
And then another sleeper that I have is I don't I I don't know, man. I think Caleb Williams has a shot at winning Heisman. He has so many weapons around him, like Jordan Addison and Travis Dye, but he lost Jude Wolfe, his tight end, to a broken ankle. But I think him and Lincoln Riley have a shot at um, being really good together at USC. Caleb Williams last year, only in 11 games, he had 1,912 yards with 21 touchdowns. So I think he could put up good numbers just like he did last year, especially if he plays all 12 games.
yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Who do you think?
Um, I put down 2 dark horses, and the reason why. Okay, the first thing I want to say is this is definitely a quarterback's award.
Yeah,
So I'm
absolutely.
not gonna. So the reason, I mean, a lot of people might have him as a legit contender, but I have him as a dark horse because this is a quarterback's award. First person I got to talk about is Will Anderson at Alabama, because I mean, this man was a sophomore last year, and he was the leader of the defense, and he got robbed of a Heisman Trophy ceremony visit, if I do say so myself.
I think
He
so
had
too.
56 solo tackles and 17 and a half sacks as a sophomore. I don't see why he isn't the best prospect going into the draft this upcoming year. I think he's going to be special, and I think he's just going to continue to be, build on that season last year. The only thing that's going to hold him back is that you're going to have Bryce Young taking away the votes from him because
I
I
agree.
definitely think Bryce Young will be right back in the conversation for it this year.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no. So that was my first dark horse. My second one is KJ Jefferson, Arkansas. Last year, he threw for 2,600 yards, had 4 picks, 21 touchdowns, and he had a few rushing as well. Um, I think, he put his name on the map. He didn't, have necessarily the recognition. And I think, another year under Sam Pittman and adding Jaden Hazelwood and having a lot of returners, coming back on that offense, I think he, could put his name out there for sure. Because I know
Yeah.
a lot of people are seeing him kind of in that same Tyler Van Dyke, area. Like, man, this guy showed a lot of spurts last year, and he could be something special. So those were
Yeah.
my 2 dark horses that I had.
I agree with you. I think KJ Jefferson is great with Sam Pittman. They go
For sure.
together like mashed potatoes and gravy. They're just
Oh yeah,
a great combination of the two of them. So let's talk about contenders.
yeah. Go
So
ahead.
I think my number one contender for the Heisman. This is my pick to win it. If I had to put money on somebody to win it, I'd put it on this guy, CJ Stroud out of Ohio State. He lost a couple weapons. He lost Chris Olave and he lost Garrett Wilson, but he also has Jackson Smith and Najigba, who led the wide receiver core in receptions and yards. He had 1,606 yards, more than Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. And I think this year that Marvin Harrison Jr. steps up, and I also think Julian Fleming steps up.
Yeah.
Jackson Smith last year had 27 receptions for 312. Wait, where did I go?
It's all good. It's all good.
Sorry, Trayvon Henderson, their running back,
Yeah.
had 27 receptions for 312 yards. I think Trayvon would be a huge weapon for him, just like Jackson Smith will be. And I
Yeah, for
also
sure.
think Marvin and Julian will step up as well. So, and then another contender that I have, I know you say everybody thinks this is a quarterback award, but I really do think that Bijan Robinson has a chance to prove something this year.
Okay.
The only thing that I'm worried about is with Quinn being there now.
Mhm.
they're going to be more of a pass offense. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like, Bijan Robinson's so good. I don't know why you don't give him the rock.
Yeah, I definitely think he'll be the number one player on the field for Texas
Oh, absolutely.
offensively.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think so too. And then you said him earlier, but I think Will Anderson has like I said, I know it's a quarterback award, but I really do think Will Anderson has a shot at winning the Heisman this year.
Yeah, yeah,
He had like you said, he had 17 and a half sacks, 57 solo tackles, and then he had 101 total tackles all year.
yeah.
He led the defense, and I think he's out for blood because he didn't win the national championship this year. You
Oh
saw the
yeah.
picture. You saw the picture of him with the whole entire University of Alabama. He's sitting there looking like a demon, ready to go out and eat. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think he could be crazy this year.
Yeah. I'm shocked you didn't talk about Bryce Young a little bit, to be honest with you.
I think everybody knows that like Bryce Young has a shot to go back to back.
I got
Another
you.
year in Saban's offense and another year with that offense, and it's just like I feel like that's a no-brainer for a lot of people. So
I got you.
yeah, who you
Yeah.
got as a contender?
My if I had to choose somebody today, to win the Heisman, it would also be CJ Stroud. And you've already talked about his stats. He had third most in touchdowns last year with 44, fifth in passing yards. He is legit. I know, that first loss against Oregon, people were kind of guessing, oh, is he actually good? And, he had a little sketchy game against Minnesota to open the year last year. But I think, he took a week off when they played Akron. The following week after they played Oregon, they played Akron, and they took him off the field, I think, to get his mental state right because everybody knew Ohio State was going to win that game.
Yeah.
And when he came back, he was legit. And like you said, Jackson Smith and the Jigba is only going to get better. Marvin Harrison would be a wide receiver 1 at most colleges, but since he's at Ohio State, he's the number 2, and he hasn't played a lot because he was sitting behind Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave last year,
Yeah.
and he's just as good. And so having him, and then like you said, Trayvon Henderson, not only does he give Ohio State the threat to run on the ground, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield too. And he can hit, when you get the ball in his hands, and I think Stroud's going to do a very good job of, getting playmakers the ball and letting them do their work and get those yards. So if I had choose somebody today, it'd be CJ Stroud also, because I don't think, the Heisman voters want to have a back-to-back. But number 2, I got Bryce Young. It's hard. He won it last year. It's hard not to, talk about him in this. Second in touchdowns, 3 more than CJ Stroud last year with 47. Second in yards in all of college football last year. Bailey Zappe at Western Michigan, who threw the ball about 60 times a game, was the only person better than him. Only 7 picks. He's a good leader. His teammates love him. I don't think that adding Jahmyr Gibbs is just going to make Alabama decide that they want to run the ball. I think he's just as good as a receiving back as he would be, a ground and pound guy. But like I said earlier, I think, I know some people are talking about Will Anderson stealing votes, because I know that the Heisman voters, they're like, oh gosh, we messed up. We didn't even invite him last year. And then I think adding Jermaine Burton to his wide receiver core is going to help him out a lot, because I know a lot of people who watched Georgia last year, all they talked about was defense, and I don't think they understood that how good Jermaine Burton was. I think he was very underappreciated at Georgia.
Oh,
I think
absolutely. He definitely made an impact on the Georgia offense for sure.
yes, absolutely. And I think he's going to show everybody, and I think it's going to help his draft stock. I think that was honestly the main reason why he transferred from Georgia to Alabama, because he knows he's going to get the rock. He knows they're going to throw the ball. They're going to win by putting up points, and he's going to get his opportunities for sure. And then lastly, my third contender that I wrote down was Caleb Williams at USC. He didn't even play the full season last year, and he was on track to honestly, if he would have played a full season, he might have won the award last year. I don't know if Oklahoma would have made the playoffs or not, but that's neither here or there. He's at USC now. The only thing that's giving me questions is it's offensive line. They're not the best. They're not bad, but they're not the same offensive line that was blocking for him at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Now, granted, The defenses he'll be facing in the Pac-12 are honestly just maybe a little bit better than the Big 12. They're obviously not that good, but he's got something to prove because he was the number one guy on the market, and I think him being with Lincoln Lincoln Riley last year. Sorry,
Yeah.
excuse
No,
me.
you're good.
Lincoln Riley, last year he learned under him. He obviously has his trust. He took out Spencer Rattler, who was a very highly touted, quarterback recruit, and to put him in that situation against Texas last year, and he didn't even blink. He was out there running, throwing. I mean, and he's got playmakers, like you said. He's got Jordan Addison, transfer from Pitt, and then in the backfield, Travis Dye, running back from Oregon. So I really think Caleb Williams is going to be something special. It just might take some getting used to. The only thing that's holding them back, I think, is I don't know if USC is going to win as many games as people think, but I definitely think he's going to be in the conversation to win the award for sure.
I agree. I definitely agree. Because, I mean, going into the season last year, everybody thought that Spencer Rattler was going to win the Heisman. And Lincoln Riley had to have some guts to take him out and put in a backup quarterback. And then Caleb comes in and he's a world beater.
But don't forget. Yes, he did have his moments like against Texas, and even though they lost to Oklahoma State, he still had his moments where you're like, this kid's going to be special, and I can't remember if he's a freshman or sophomore off the top of my head.
I think he's a sophomore this year.
Yeah, I believe so as well. But you can't forget he started the game against Kansas, and they were tied going into the fourth quarter. So, and I mean, there were spurts where you're just like, oh gosh, but then again, I still think he's special talent, and I think they'll do good, and I think he's got a chance to take home the award or at least be in New York for the ceremony. So
I agree. I definitely agree. He's got a lot of potential. He's just got to show up. So he's got to prove that he's about it. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, all right. Anything else you want to add about the Heisman?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, good deal. All right. So we were originally planning on doing the ACC and the Big Ten, but that might take up way too much time. So we're just going to do the Big Ten, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're just going to talk about our Big Ten predictions, who's finishing where, improvements, who's taking a step back this year. And then who's going to be going to Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis to play for the Big Ten championship. So,
yes, sir.
All right.
You want to start?
Yeah, you can go first. Tell me who you got. We're going to start with Big Ten West, and we'll just go just like we did last time. We'll go one at a time on who we got where. So
sounds good. So in the West, I have finishing in 7th place Northwestern, finishing with a 2-10 record. I have them losing at Nebraska first week in Ireland. Then I have them losing to Duke. I have them beating Southern Illinois. I have them beating Miami, Ohio. I have them losing to Penn State, losing to Wisconsin, losing to Maryland, losing to Iowa, losing to Ohio State, losing to Minnesota, losing to Purdue, and then losing to Illinois. I think they start out kind of rocky, and then they win those 2 games against Southern Illinois and Miami, Ohio. But other than that, I don't see them winning at all. They have a spark there for a little bit, but then that's all the fun they have, and they lose the rest of the games that they play throughout the year. So
yeah,
that's why I have finishing in last place for the West.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And before we even really get into the West, this whole division is just I didn't even realize it until I was really diving in to see records and who I had finishing where and whatnot. But I mean, a lot of these games are coin flip games, or you just don't know because everybody focuses on the Big Four in the East, being Ohio State, Michigan State, and Penn State. So the West is always kind of a toss-up. I mean, I know historically it's been Wisconsin's to lose. I mean, and then you have Northwestern, who has made 2 Big Ten championship games in the last 5 years. And I mean, Iowa made it last year, so you just never really know.
I agree.
But then you got teams like Purdue, who, they have Aiden McConnell, who's, been talked about a lot this offseason as well. And then you got Nebraska, and everybody always wants to say Nebraska's going to – this is the year Scott Frost gets it done, gets over the hump. But we'll see. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to plug up my computer so it doesn't die on us.
You're good.
On this, before I get into it.
But yeah, like you said it perfectly. I think the Big Ten West is literally like all these games are just coin flip games. Anybody can win them.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think it's like the SEC where you have these big name schools and like these top dogs that are playing and they win all these games throughout the year, and I just
and
understand.
The thing that separates the SEC from the Big Ten, I think, is that the bad teams in the SEC would mollywop the bad teams in the Big Ten. So, this year, like you said, I had Auburn going last in the West, and I think they could, they can compete with half the teams that are in the West and possibly even beat them, like even the top ones,
Absolutely. Like, I think the Penn State Auburn game this year, I think is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good
back and forth game like it was.
But then one team's going to finish with a really good record, and the other team's not, just based off the conference they play in. So
exactly.
All right, but back to this. All right, finishing 7th, I got Illinois, I should say. That's silent. Yeah, I got them coming in at 2-10, finishing 1-8 in conference. Head coach Brett Bielema had a few stints at Arkansas. That was what I kind of remember him for growing up. But I really, I don't see a lot going on for them. They've never really been good. I know before Brett Bielema, they had Lovie Smith, who's now the head coach of the Houston Texans. He's definitely an NFL guy, but Illinois, the only thing that I could think of last year they did really well is they did have 2 wins I could think of off the top of my head that they won, and that was in week 0 against Nebraska last year. They beat them. That was the first college football game of the year. They beat Nebraska by a touchdown, and then they also beat Penn State in absolute thriller. It was like 7 or 8 overtime game.
Yeah.
And 2 games that they weren't expected to win, but I don't really have a lot going on for them this year. They might win a trap game or 2, but I have them going 2-10, 1-8 in conference. Their one conference win being a win at Indiana in week 2, but I do have them losing to Wyoming, Virginia. Then they have a bye week, and I have them beating the Chattanooga Mocs, and then I have them losing every game after that to Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Michigan State, Purdue, Michigan, and I do have them losing at the end of the year to Northwestern. So, but yeah, that's who I got finishing 7th in the West.
I can definitely see that happening. See, I don't have them finishing. I mean, I have Illinois finishing 5th, but I can definitely see it's like we said,
it's the thing.
Big Ten
We
West.
just don't
Anything
know.
can happen. We
Exactly.
don't know. Yeah,
exactly.
Anything can happen. So let's go to 6th place in the West. In 6th place in the West, I have finishing Iowa with a 5-7 record. I think week 1 they play South Dakota State in Iowa. I think they win that game. And then I think they beat Iowa State. And then they beat Nevada. I think they lose to Rutgers. They lose to Michigan in Iowa. They beat Illinois. They lose to Ohio State in Ohio. I have them beating Northwestern. And then the last 4 games of the season, I have them losing all 4 of them to Purdue, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Nebraska. I just don't see them ever. I don't see them beating Purdue. I don't see them beating Wisconsin, Minnesota. Absolutely not. And then Nebraska, I'm jumping on their bandwagon this year, and I will refuse to say that they will beat Nebraska, because Nebraska, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, you and I talk about it all the time. Like, we think Nebraska could easily win the West, but I just don't think Iowa puts up a very good season this year, and I have them finishing at 5-7 and finishing 6th. So
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I got finishing 6th. I got Northwestern. They got Pat Fitzgerald at the helm still. Players love him. I mean, Northwestern, he gets the most out of his players, kind of like what we were talking about last week with Sam Pittman and Arkansas. They haven't always had the highest touted recruiting classes, but whatever he does bring in, they're good. They've made 2 Big Ten title games since the title games came into play in 2011. It would be in 2018 and 2020, or 2020, I should say. Yeah, and they both against Ohio State, but lost both of them. But I do think Pat Fitzgerald's a good coach, really good defensive mind. He sent a few players to the NFL, DBs notably, but really nothing special going on this year for him. If you could notice, 2018 they were really bad, or 2018 they were really good. 2019 really bad. 2020
really bad, yeah.
pretty good. 2021 they weren't too good last year. I don't see them being too good this year.
Yeah.
I do have them beating. I have them losing to Nebraska. I got them beating Duke, Southern Illinois, Miami, Ohio, and then they taken a lot of losses between Penn State, Wisconsin, Maryland, Iowa, Ohio State, Minnesota. But then something just tells me there's going to be a little trap game where they go into West Lafayette, Indiana, and beat Purdue, and then they end up beating Illinois to finish the year, going 5-7 and going 2-7 in conference play. So
yeah, I can definitely see that. Purdue always has that one game where they shouldn't lose, and then they always lose.
Every year. Yeah, for
Every
sure.
year.
Yeah.
Every single year.
Yep.
All right, so then let's go on to 5th. Like
Yeah,
I
you
said
got it.
earlier, I got Illinois finishing 5th in the West. I have them finishing with a 6-6 record. I have them winning the first 2 weeks against Wyoming, and then I have them beating Indiana. I have them losing to Virginia. I have them beating Chattanooga, losing to Wisconsin, losing to Iowa, beating Minnesota, and then coming off the bye, I have them losing to Nebraska, losing to Michigan State, beating Purdue. That's the game that I think Purdue loses that they shouldn't lose. And then I have them losing to Michigan, and then I have them beating Northwestern. Like I said earlier, Purdue always has that one game every year where they lose, and I think Illinois has got the team to beat them this year.
I got you. Yeah.
Sure.
No,
So
I
I
could
got them finishing.
I could see it. Yeah. I got Purdue finishing 5th as well.
Okay.
I got them going 7-5, finishing 4-5 in conference play. Head coach Jeff Brom, pretty good coach. You hear mixed, emotions on him a lot. A lot of people thought he was, if he didn't do something last year, he was going to get fired. Well, he ended up beating Michigan State and Iowa when they were both ranked in the top 10. That saved his job. And then the only other memorable game about, Purdue I can think of was last year in the bowl game against Tennessee when Tennessee got robbed of that touchdown at the end of the game. But they are up and down. They're good and bad, I think Aiden McConnell's a really good quarterback, though. He was really good. He threw for, 28 touchdowns, 11 picks. He had a top 5 QBR at 85.7 last year. He's not going to be as good, I think, with the departure of David Bell to the NFL. He was his top receiver last year. But the last time Purdue was a true contender, I'd say was probably in 1999, 2000 when Drew Brees was there.
When Drew Brees was there, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
But no, I do have them going 7-5. I have them week 1 winning on a Thursday night, beating Penn State. Shocker. Thursday night games to start the year just give me vibes that I don't even know, because it was a middle of the week game when Purdue beat Ohio State and Purdue.
Yeah,
I could definitely see Purdue beating Penn State week 1.
I can see that too.
Got them beating Indiana State, beating Syracuse, beating Florida Atlantic. And then they're going to drop their first game at Minnesota on October 1st. I have them losing at Maryland. I do have them beating Nebraska. And I have losses at Wisconsin. And then after the bye week, I got them losing to Iowa. And then I have them finishing out the year going 2-1, beat Illinois, lose to Northwestern, and beat Indiana. So
I think so too. I think right after the bye with Purdue, I think they go. I think they go.
I think they go 2-2.
Yeah, I think they go 3. I think they go 3-1 because
Okay.
I think they're
Oh,
going to beat
you think they're
Iowa.
going to beat Iowa? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
And which
and then
could most definitely happen. They
yeah,
could. I mean,
yeah,
you don't ever know with
yeah.
these
You
teams.
never know with the Big Ten.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
Well, all righty. Yeah, that's who I got finishing 5th in the West. So you go ahead and tell me who you got in 4th.
So in 4th, I have Minnesota finishing with a 7-6 record. I have them coming out strong. I have them winning the first 3 games of the season. I have them beating New Mexico State. I have them beating Western Illinois, and then I have them beating Colorado. And then they dropped their first game to Michigan State in Michigan. And then I have them beating Purdue. And then after the bye week, I have them going 3-4. I have
Okay.
them losing to Illinois. I have them losing to Penn State, beating Rutgers, losing to Nebraska, beating Northwestern, beating Iowa, and then losing to Wisconsin at the last game of the season.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I just don't. Minnesota always has a good program. They rode the boat, but
Yeah,
I just don't see them finishing any higher than 4th this year.
I got you. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen. But, I mean, I also think they have a really high ceiling to where they could possibly win the division.
Oh, I do too. I think because the top 4 for me, I think anybody from the top 4 could win it out of Nebraska, Wisconsin, Purdue, or Minnesota. Any of
Yeah,
those 4 could
any
win
of
it.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you just don't know.
Yeah.
But all right, well, coming in 4th, not a popular pick, needless to say. I got the Wisconsin Badgers. Paul Chryst is their head coach, and he's always known to have 10-win seasons up till last year. And I kind of take out the 2020 COVID year because I believe the Big Ten only played 6 games if they were
Yeah.
lucky, because they didn't even delay games. If a game was canceled, it was canceled.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I'm not sold on Graham Mertz at all. I remember I was when he was a senior in high school, and I was watching him play in the Army All-American game. I thought he was going to be really good. And then I remember he redshirted his first year, and then he came out in 2020 in the first Big Ten game of the year. They played Illinois, and this man looked like he was going to win the Heisman. And then after that, I don't know if he's done anything except breathe.
Yeah.
I don't believe in him. The only thing that I think is going to hold Wisconsin, to win more games or win this many games is going to be, shocker, offensive line, defense, and running back. That's what Wisconsin's known for. They got plenty of running backs up in the NFL that are just, very good. Melvin Gordon, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And, don't forget about in 2012 when Monty Ball was there. That's a name. He played for the Denver Broncos for a little bit, but he was really good in college. They just produce running backs.
Yeah.
And I think they have the chance to have the second best defense in the entire conference, if not the top defense. But it's not going to be like the Georgia defense or the Alabama defense.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, Braylon Edwards, their running back, he's really good. He's already got put on the Maxwell Award watch for this upcoming season. So, I have faith that he will, do most of the offense here. But offense has been the thing that's holding Wisconsin back. And, you could tell probably around 2015, 16, maybe even before then, when teams really started going from ground and pound, I formation, old school football to 5 wide, 4 wide, utilizing the tight end and throwing the ball.
Yeah,
It feels like Wisconsin's still
get it.
stuck in 1999 and still just wants to run the ball all the time. And until they figure out that that's not going to work, I don't see them being a true contender like they used to be back when they had Russell Wilson and Melvin Gordon and teams like that.
I get that.
So I'll run through their schedule real quick. I got beating Illinois State. I honestly think Washington State's a toss-up game, but since it's in Madison, I have them winning. It's a 3:30 game on Fox, so that'll be good. Got them beating New Mexico State. Then they go on the road at Ohio State, and they're going to get absolutely whooped. I don't even think it'll be close. I got them beating Illinois. I got them, winning at Northwestern. And then I have them dropping games to Michigan State. I do have them beating Purdue. I have them beating Maryland, and I got them losing to Iowa, Nebraska, and Minnesota. So
I can definitely see that happening. Man, you're making me look dumb. I got them winning the West.
it could happen. It could.
Yeah, I
But
mean, coin flip division, man. No idea.
Yeah, I have them losing their last 3 games. 2 tough road tests at Iowa, at Nebraska, and then they finish at home against Minnesota. I don't see them winning, and then I do have them losing to the 2 teams in the East that they play, being Ohio State and Michigan State. Terrible draw. They could have drawn like Rutgers and Indiana. Instead, they drew Ohio State and Michigan State. Well, they do play Maryland too, who's in the East, but still, both those games are away. So I have them going 4-5 in conference.
Okay.
So that'll explain. Oh, never mind. I don't have a tiebreaker anymore. I fixed that. I thought I had a tiebreaker between 2 teams, but we got it all. Oh no, I did. I had Purdue going 4-5 as well.
Yeah.
I had them finishing 5-4. Purdue 5th, Wisconsin 4th. But since I do have Wisconsin beating Purdue in the head-to-head, that's how they finished ahead of them, even though they had the same record. So
yeah. Get that.
Yep.
I can see that. But all right, let's go on to third. I have in third place, finishing with an 8-4 record, the Purdue Boilermakers.
Yep.
I have them winning week 1 against Penn State.
Okay.
I have them beating Indiana State. I have them beating Syracuse. I have them beating Florida Atlantic. And then they drop 3 games in a row to Minnesota, Maryland, and Nebraska. I have them beating Wisconsin. And then coming out of the bye week, I have them winning against Iowa, losing against Illinois, and then beating Northwestern and Indiana. I think Purdue and Graham, what's his
Graham
name?
Mertz.
Yeah, Mertz.
He plays in Wisconsin. Aiden McConnell's the quarterback.
Aiden McConnell. Sorry, I don't know why I got that.
No, it's all good.
But I think Purdue has a chance at winning the division this year, but I just don't see them being better than Nebraska or Wisconsin.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, coming in third, I got the best 3-9 team of all time, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Get this. I know a lot of people talk about, you can't even be a good team if you're 3-9. I do. I truly do believe Nebraska was a good team. They weren't spectacular because obviously they did not know how to close games. Their 9 games that they played, or the 9 games that they lost last year, I should say, they lost by 9 or more points in all of them. 8 of the 9 games that they lost by a touchdown and a field goal, 7 points in
That's
8
awful.
of their 9 losses. They could not close a game and save their lives last year. The Scott Frost era has been nothing but a disappointment. He was supposed to be the savior of Nebraska football. I haven't said this before. I have never, and I knew it was going to take time, but now it's down to this. If Scott Frost does not perform this year, he's out of a job. He is gone.
Yeah.
I do think he will make a bowl game. I do think Nebraska will get on the right track. I have them going 8-4, finishing 5-4 in conference, third in the division. I understand the hype, but I don't until I see it with my own eyes. I will never. I think 3 might even be high. 8-4 might be high. A lot of people have them win 6-7 games, but I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here. They got Casey Thompson from Texas. They kicked Adrian Martinez out of town. That was the most overrated quarterback I've ever seen in my life. He was on the Heisman list at the beginning of the year 2 years ago.
It's like JT Daniels.
Wow, that was unnecessary. Martinez gone to Kansas State. They bring in Casey Thompson, who has a lot of experience. He played a lot of games last year for Steve Sarkisian at Texas. their starting running back last year, Gabe Irvin Jr., I actually went to high school and middle school with him for a little bit at Buford, Georgia. He started as a true freshman last year, and I think he tore his ACL. I know he got put out pretty early on. I think he's planned on being back for week 0 against Northwestern. Which, can somebody explain to me why that game's getting played in Ireland for no apparent reason?
Yeah, I have no idea either. That
Yeah,
makes
but
no sense to me.
I got him going 8-4. I got him beating Northwestern in Dublin. I got him beating North Dakota, beating Georgia Southern. I got him beating the Sooners. I got him beating Oklahoma. I do. I think if it was at Oklahoma, I'd probably have them losing, but I think this will be Brett Venables' first real test, and I think Nebraska's going to be hot. And it's at home. Those fans are going to really start buying in after I think they go on a 3-game win streak, and I think they're going to win. Too bad it's a big noon kickoff. Not a late night game, but whatever. Then they come off a bye week. They got Indiana, Rutgers, and Purdue. I got them going 2-1. I know I mentioned earlier I do have them dropping their first game at Purdue on October 15th. So that would make them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, starting off 6-0 and then 6-1. Then they have another bye week since they play on week 0. And I got them beating Illinois. I got them dropping one back-to-back at Minnesota and at Michigan. I got them losing at Iowa to end the year. And, yeah, those.
You haven't beaten Wisconsin?
I do have them beating Wisconsin. Sorry if I skipped over that.
No,
I'm sorry.
good.
Yeah, no, and the reason why is because, I just gave my thoughts on Wisconsin. I don't think they're worth anything. And it's in Nebraska. And Nebraska was a powerhouse in the 90s. We weren't around for that, but all I've heard about, Tommy Frazier and how good they were. And, it was them versus Miami. That was the thing. It's no different than when we grew up Alabama, Clemson,
Yeah.
And I do think that those fans were, they do have fans. And I think they are diehard. They just haven't been getting a lot of love or recognition because of how bad Nebraska's been recently.
Yeah.
But I do think, so if that game was in Madison, I definitely, could coin flip. But I think by that late in the season, and I got them losing back-to-back, Minnesota and at Michigan. I think they do come back and get a win over Wisconsin before going to Iowa City and dropping that one. So got them going 8-4, 5-4 in conference. And for the first time in the Scott Frost era, Nebraska makes a bowl game.
I would love to see that. I like Scott Frost. I think he's great at Nebraska. I think he's just got some bad luck because, like you said, like the games that they lost have been by like 9 points at most.
Yeah, and the thing is the game that they lost by 9 points, you know how I said, 8 of the 9 they lost by 7 or less.
Yeah.
The 9-point game was to Ohio State.
Yeah.
And they kept that Ohio State offense to 24 points.
That's impressive.
They got talent. The defense is not bad. Their recruiting, honestly, was not that bad. They just got to finish games. And I think they are going to make that adjustment because Scott Frost knows, like, this is his last chance. Like, that's where he played quarterback at. I believe. He might have played at Oklahoma, but I'm pretty sure he played at Nebraska.
I think he played in Nebraska, too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It was Josh Heupel that played at Oklahoma. That's what it was. Yeah. He knows. He cannot let these fans down and this, university down anymore. So I do think that they find a way, they get it done. And they finish 8-4, go to a bowl game, probably like the Music City Bowl or some Outback Bowl.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you, but I have them finishing in second this year.
Yeah.
I have them with a 9-3 record. Like you said, I think they beat Northwestern and Ireland. I think they beat North Dakota. I think they beat Georgia Southern. I think they upset Oklahoma.
Yeah, we got that as well.
Nobody's going to expect it, but I really do think that Nebraska can upset them. I think they lose to Indiana for the first loss of their season.
Wow.
I think they beat Rutgers, and then I think they beat Purdue going into their bye week. So I have them at a 5-1 record going into their bye week.
I got you.
And then after their bye week, I have them going 2-2, winning to Illinois and Minnesota, and then losing to Michigan, Wisconsin, and then I have them beating Iowa and Iowa City to end the year. And I think they do make a bowl game at the end of the year, just like you said. But Scott Frost will keep his job at Nebraska.
He will. I agree. Yeah. All right. Well, you had this team going 5-7 and finishing 6th. The defending Big Ten West champions from last year, the Iowa Hawkeyes, I got them going 9-3, finishing 2nd in the division, but I do have them going 5-4 in conference. So it's not like they're even really doing that good.
Yeah, in the conference. Yeah.
Oh, you know what I just realized?
What's that?
They're not going 5-4 in the conference because I said they're just going 9-3. They're going 6-3 in conference.
Oh, okay.
My mistake. I wrote it down incorrectly.
No, you're good. I didn't catch
Another thing, I don't know. I say this a lot, but like Kurt France is their head coach. He's old, okay? But like I remember when I was ranked number 2 in the AP poll at one point last year. The first week Georgia got ranked number 1 when Alabama got beat.
Alabama got beat by A&M.
Yeah.
Yep.
That defense was a legitimate they were good last year. They were very good. But like I said earlier, the defense, it's not like the same kind of good as we're talking about when we talked about the Georgia defense, the Alabama defense. But they are a good defense. They stop teams from scoring. That's the best way I know how to put it. Kurt Francis is a good coach. He's been there for a while. And, they won the division last year. They did, drop games like Purdue. They fell off the face of the planet. They lost to Wisconsin whenever they were ranked in the top 5. Like I said earlier, they could go 5-7, like you said.
Yeah.
But I do think they'll end up going 9-3. The only issue for Iowa is their offense. It's terrible. It's never been good. They can't even hardly run the ball.
Yeah.
Like, much less throw. Don't even get me started on the passing game for Iowa. I can't even tell their quarterback situation terrible. Receivers really are not that good. The defense bails them out of a lot of games, and I think the defense is what's going to keep them in a lot of games this year. And I do think they'll sneak out, going 6-3.
They just don't have any big playmakers on offense. That's their problem. Their recruiting has not been very good.
Oh, no, not at all. No. Not at all. So I do have them going, starting off the season. Let's see. I have their first loss coming to Michigan. So they start out the season 4-0. They lose to Michigan. Then they're going to beat Illinois at Illinois. Then they have a bye week and go on the road just to get whooped by Ohio State. Northwestern, I do have them winning that game. And I have them beating Purdue at Purdue. I have them beating Wisconsin. I do have them losing to Minnesota, but I do have them beating Nebraska. But this team is so boring to watch on TV. I don't know if you've ever watched it. They are
I don't think I can say I've ever watched an Iowa hockey game.
No, they are not fun to watch. That's why my energy is just not there. They're going to go – I have them going 9-3, but, I'm not really too excited about it because all their games are going to be, 17-10.
Yeah.
It will be boring. But all good, how it is. So
not every team can score 50, 60 points a game, so.
Oh, yeah, no.
Some teams have to have some defensive battles, but.
Yeah.
I'm just glad it in ours, so.
Oh, yeah.
So – before I tell you who I have winning, I'd just like to say that I'm going to have a lot of people are going to turn their heads when I say this, and anybody watching is probably going to
my gosh.
It
can't be any worse than Kentucky going 12-0.
So I have winning the Big Ten West is Wisconsin. I have them going 9-3, and I have them in a tie with Nebraska. But the only reason I have them winning the West is because they beat Nebraska. I think Nebraska and Wisconsin both go 9-3. I think Wisconsin starts out with a bang. I think they beat Illinois State. I think they beat Washington State. I think they beat New Mexico State in week 3. And then they dropped their first loss to Ohio State in week 4. Then in week 5, I have them beating Illinois. And then they beat Northwestern. They lose to Michigan State and lose to Purdue. I think they beat Maryland. I think they beat Iowa. I think they beat Nebraska. And then I think they beat Minnesota to finish 9-3 on the year. And they will be facing to be determined
No,
in
it's
Indy
not.
for the
Don't
Big
lie.
Ten.
Don't lie. Everybody knows who's winning the East this
Yeah,
year.
Ohio
Yeah.
State's winning the East. So
Yeah, there we
yeah,
go.
that's no
What did you
brainer.
say their conference record was? What'd you have it at?
I have their conference
At 6
record
and 3?
at. Say again.
Did you say 6 and 3?
Yeah, 6-3. I have them going at 6-3.
I got you. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So you're a believer in Graham Mertz, eh?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
It is the
I mean, he got
Badgers'
potential.
year.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm doing right now, Jansen?
What's that?
I'm rowing the boat because I got the Golden Gophers winning the Big Ten West.
I love it.
I'm rowing the boat
Love
with
it.
PJ Fleck. I love PJ Fleck. I mean, I remember in 2016 watching him coach that Western Michigan team going undefeated, and they almost beat Wisconsin, ironically, in the Cotton Bowl that year. Great game, and he's doing great things in Minnesota. Now, obviously, you know, Minnesota football was terrible, and they're still not, magnificent. But going 8-4 for them is a really good season. I actually have them going 10-2, going 7-2 in conference play.
Wow.
They got 5th or 6th year return on their quarterback Tanner Morgan, who is bald, by the way. So he's old. This guy's old. He might be older than Stet Quavius.
He's like a 7th year senior.
Yeah. I mean, he's been highly touted. He produced players, like Corey Davis, who's now on the New York Jets as a wide receiver. The running game's going to be good. They got Muhammad Ibrahim, who was really good. He gave Ohio State fits in
What a
that first
name.
game last year.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not be talking about him. He tore his ACL pretty early on, halfway through the season last year. But I think he's really good. I think he's going to be something special. And I do think Tanner Morgan's leadership, will lead them to big wins. I got high expectations for him, I guess. I mean, like you said, this was pretty
You set the bar high.
Yeah, I did. I mean, this was a pretty difficult one to fill out. But I am rowing the boat. I just hope we don't wreck it because last year they lost on homecoming to Bowling Green.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that now. Yeah.
But so I have them winning every game that they play in the Big Ten West. They do play at Michigan State and at Penn State, and those are the 2 games I got them losing. But besides that, they're 3 non-con, New Mexico State, Western Illinois, and Colorado, all wins.
Yeah.
I do have them dropping to Michigan State. I got them beating Purdue. They go off a bye week. They beat Illinois, and then they drop the next game to at Penn State, which is the whiteout game for Penn State.
Oh, it is?
Yes. I think it's homecoming as well, so they're not winning. But then their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, I got them winning Rutgers at Nebraska, Northwestern, Iowa, and at Wisconsin. The only 2 games I think that will give them fits is at Nebraska and at Wisconsin, and that's only because they're away. But besides that, I think they got it. I think staff-wise and leadership-wise, they got it best at Minnesota. And I think they really do buy into PJ Fleck. I've not heard one bad thing, from a player or media source about PJ Fleck. And I mean, you can see him like whenever they win, he body surfs on them. Like he just jumps up and expects them to catch him, and they love it. So
yeah.
I do have the Golden Gophers going to Indianapolis to play the winner of the Big Ten East.
Yeah, we all know who that is, but man, I like it. I like that you're rowing the boat, man, because Minnesota and PJ Fleck are very high on my list. I like them a lot. So
yeah.
But
all right, man.
Jump into the East.
Yeah. Go straight into. Nope, we're not skipping a beat. Straight to the East.
Straight into the East. Sounds good. That's right. I got finishing last in the East. I got Indiana finishing with a 4-8 record. I have them losing week 1 to Illinois. I have them beating Idaho in week 2. I have them beating Western Kentucky. I have them losing to Cincinnati, beating Nebraska, and then losing to Michigan, losing to Maryland. I think they beat Rutgers. I think they lose to Penn State, lose to Ohio State, lose to Michigan State, and then lose Purdue. So they have a couple wins in there, but I just don't think because at the end of the year, their schedule gets hard. They play Penn State, then Ohio State, then Michigan State, then Purdue for the last 4 games of the season, and there's no shot that they beat any of those teams. So
Yeah. I also have Indiana coming in 7th in the East. I have them going 3-9 and winning 1 conference game. Yeah,
what conference game you got them winning?
I have them beating Maryland,
Okay.
and that's honestly because I was feeling a little generous. And I'll actually get into Maryland in a second because you're not going to believe what I have to say about them. But
Oh, God.
the only good thing about Indiana is that I do like their coach, Tom Allen. That 2020 season was just remarkable, the amount of games that they ended up pulling out of their rear end and winning.
Yeah.
They did lose Michael Penix Jr. to the transfer portal. He's going to play at Washington now. And all their good talent that was on that 2020 team is gone. They either transferred or went to the NFL. And they just – last year, they just fell off the face of the planet. I mean, they had such high expectations. They were ranked in the top 20, top 15 last year coming into the season. And I think they went 2-10. Yeah, they did go 2-10, and I don't see it getting any better. But I do like Tom Allen. He's a good coach, and like he makes me want to run through a brick wall whenever I hear him talk. But besides that, I don't have them doing too well. I do have them beating Idaho, and I do have them beating Western Kentucky, and I do have them beating Maryland. And honestly, Western Kentucky's kind of a coin flip.
Yeah.
I mean, they might be able to pick up a win against Illinois. They're pretty bad. But they might lose to Maryland too. I don't know. So, but you know that
I think they could even pick up a win against Rutgers. Like it's just
no. Honestly, I don't even have them beating Rutgers because it's but they could. That's just going to be like the toilet bowl for the Big Ten. But
it's gonna be like the blind playing the blind. It's gonna be
But coming off their bye week in October 29th, I just want to say this. Rest in peace. Penn State, at Ohio State, at Michigan State.
Yeah,
those
that
are
is
3 games off the bye. Then you play Purdue. Yeah, no. That is rough.
Yeah, you got a bad luck of the draw with that one.
Terrible draw on schedule. Yeah, but that's all I got. I ain't really got a whole lot to say about Indiana, but I do have them finishing 7th.
Okay. All right, so let's go to 6th. And then so in 6th place, I got finishing Rutgers with a 4-8 record. I have them starting out their season 4-0. I have them beating Boston College.
You have them beating Boston College?
Yeah, I got them beating Boston College. I got them beating Wagner. I have them beating Temple, and then I have them beating Iowa. And then from that point on, they never win another game the rest of the season. They're going to lose to Ohio State. They're going to lose to Nebraska. They're going to lose to Indiana. They're going to lose to Minnesota, lose to Michigan, lose to Michigan State, lose to Penn State, and then they're going to lose to Maryland to finish the season off. Man, the Big Ten is just, because like the Big Ten East, I mean, you got 4 really powerhouse teams of Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and Michigan. Like you have these big name schools, and then Maryland, Rutgers, and Indiana are like little brothers that are just can't keep up. So
I don't even know what to say because I just said like twice back to back. But it's just you don't have a lot to say about Indiana and Rutgers because they don't get the recruiting, they don't get the funding. It's just Indiana's a basketball school.
Yeah, for sure.
Rutgers is a school in New Jersey, I guess. I really don't know what
We can call them an
Yeah.
academic school because I don't even think they have a good sports team. So
I don't know if they do either. Anyways, I also have Rutgers finishing sixth in the East. I'm going 3-9, 1-8 in conference. The reason why they get sixth and not seventh, the tiebreaker, I do have them beating Indiana. They do have Greg Schiano, and Greg Schiano, like, they turned Rutgers from being like a 0-12 team every year to like a 3-win team every year. I
yeah,
think, did Rutgers get put in a bowl game last year? Am I tripping?
because so A
Yes,
and M was
A
supposed to
and
play in a
M's bowl
game, and
game.
then they got
Yeah,
COVID, and then they put Rutgers in a bowl game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which that is huge for that school.
Oh yeah.
Because they, when Greg Schiano was there in the late 2000s and early 2010s, right before they joined the Big Ten, they were honestly 1-9. I think they did get a 10-win game season in there. And then they fell off the face of the planet, and they were not ready for this big boy ball. But
Yeah.
Greg
No, yeah.
Schiano's their head coach. I think he is a good coach. I know he doesn't have the best reputation, but I do think he has made the program as maybe as good as it'll ever be,
Yeah.
being in the Big Ten. But I have them taking a loss to Boston College. I got them beating Wagner. I do have them winning at Temple, and I do have them beating Indiana as for their one conference win. But they lose after Temple. They play Iowa, Ohio State, and Nebraska. Those are 3 straight losses.
Yeah.
Then they have a bye week. I do think they get the win off the bye week. I think that's honestly what's going to help propel them, and it's at home. And then Minnesota, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, and Maryland. I just
all L's.
Yeah.
They're losing all those games.
Look at Maryland down there. Same thing with Indiana. They play Rutgers and Indiana in their season. They played 3 of the Big 4 in the East, and then they have like not so good team waiting for them at the end just to pick
Yeah.
up the scraps.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I
Because
don't.
they're gonna be just absolutely just
Oh, yeah.
white and
Yeah.
after they play Michigan, Michigan State, and Penn State.
Oh yeah.
It's yeah.
But I really don't have too much more to say on Rutgers. Let's just move on to 5th place.
neither do I.
This is
All
where
right.
I'm
Sounds
gonna get
good.
a lot of weird looks.
So in 5th place, I have Maryland finishing with a 5-7 record.
Okay.
I have them starting the season out 2-0 until they play SMU. I have them beating Buffalo, and then I have them beating Charlotte. And then I have them going on a losing streak, losing to SMU, Michigan, and Ann Arbor. I have them losing to Michigan State. I have them losing to Purdue. I have them beating Indiana, beating Northwestern, losing to Wisconsin, losing to Penn State, losing to Ohio State, and at the end of the season, I have them sneaking a win out against Rutgers. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
who you got in 5th?
Oh man, just don't say anything. I got Michigan State.
No,
And
I can see it, bro. They lost.
That
They lost like
pains
your
me to
number
say.
one.
Let me just get it off the record first. My grandfather graduated from Michigan State. Like he was, die hard, go green, go white. My grandmother's the same way. I wouldn't, my grandmother took me to go watch them play in the Peach Bowl against Pitt last year. And so like this stung. But like when I was filling out the schedule, I was just like, there's no way this is right, but this is how I came up with it. They started 8-0 last year. They finished 11-2. Mel Tucker did a great job with them after, not starting off so hot in 2020, his first year. But I think with a full season and a full offseason, he proved what he could do. But, Kenneth Walker really carried that team.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, man, they
Losing
lost their
him
number one powerhouse.
sucks.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like another person that got robbed of a Heisman Trophy ceremony visit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Walker. Now they are returning starting quarterback Peyton Thorne. He's going to be pretty good. He's okay. Decision making is a little questionable. Accuracy here or there, pretty mid. They did win the Peach Bowl, New Year's Six Bowl last year. But the question is going to be, can the defense step up?
Yeah.
They had the worst pass defense in all of America last year, finished 130th. Everybody was so excited for watching one loss Ohio State versus undefeated Michigan State last year, and Ohio State was winning 49-0 at halftime because Jackson Smith and the Jigba, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson
Garrett
just
Wilson.
tore them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is how I got Michigan State finishing 5th. I do have them beating Western Michigan. I have them beating Akron. I have them going into Seattle, beating Washington. I do have them. This is where it is. I have them losing at Maryland. I think Maryland's getting one this year. I do
Wow,
think Maryland's
that's
getting
big.
one this year. And
That's
I'll get to them because I have them finishing 4th. I'll get to them in a second. I do have them dropping it at Maryland. Trap game. You got Minnesota right before, and then you got Ohio State right after.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Nobody's thinking about Maryland right
Maryland.
there in the middle.
Yeah.
I have them losing to Ohio State. I have them beating Wisconsin, coming off the bye week, losing at Ann Arbor and Michigan. I do have them beating Illinois. I do have them beating Rutgers. I do have them beating Indiana. And I do have them losing to Penn State.
So you got them at a 7-3 record?
7
or 7-5? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7-5, 4-5 in conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could. A lot of people are saying they're going to go 8-4.
I think they're going to go 8-4.
I think they're ranked preseason top 15. I think they're right at 15 or a little below it. I know for sure top 20, which is respectable. They earned that last year. I don't know. Something's telling me that they're going to need one more year to get back to where they were last year. They need to do a little bit more in the transfer portal. They got a few good defensive backs, like Amir Speed from Georgia. He's pretty good, but at the end of the day, this is how it was, and I filled it out. And I do think they're going 7-5 and 4-5 in conference. So,
I mean, I can see that, but I agree with you on literally everything. I just don't think Maryland beats them.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, but
I
got them finishing 4th actually, with an 8-4 record, and I have them just literally same exact schedule winning as what I just said. When you went through the schedule, I was following with you, and I was just like, okay, I have that, I got that. But the only thing I don't have is I don't think Maryland beats them this year. I think Michigan State beats them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong because that would be an amazing upset to see. So
one more ad on Mel Tucker. I don't know if I really got into that, but this man got a bag last year after starting off 8-0.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the highest paid football coach at one point. He got a lot of money, and I think they did the right decision by securing him because, they got him in a weird situation because in 2019, he was the head coach for Colorado for 1 year. And then the very next year, he went to Michigan State. But I think locking him down, and I do think people in Michigan State, their fans, they do think they can win a championship, which I'll never, see probably. But I do think
not in our lifetime.
Mel Tucker will be he's a great coach. I always have a respect for him, and he was a defensive coordinator at Georgia for a while, and the year we went to the national championship with Jake Fromm. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I got Maryland finishing 4th.
Okay.
Get this. I have Maryland going 6-6, and I have Michigan State going 7-5. But the conference win-loss, I have Michigan State going 4-5, and I have Maryland going 5-4. So that's how they got to finish ahead of them in the conference. And one thing I do have to say about their head coach, Mike Locksley, pretty funny name. He's got a good, decent roster. They're never going to be good. They're kind of mostly seen with the Indiana and Rutgers of the East Division. They're always going to be bottom 3.
Yeah.
But, the biggest pickup they've had in a while is definitely, they had Stephon Diggs. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
But Tua's little brother recently, Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa?
Yeah. He's pretty good. The only thing about Maryland is inconsistency. Like they are just like I remember last year, Talia threw for like 4 touchdowns, and the next game he threw for 6 interceptions. Like you just don't ever know what you're going to get
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see that with the schedule because like Maryland, I do think they're not just getting 1. I think they're getting 2.
You think they're
So
getting 2?
yeah,
What's the other one?
we'll get there. So
Uh,
Buffalo win at Charlotte win. They're going to drop SMU. I think SMU's ready to make that jump to the Big 12. They're getting them.
Yeah.
They're losing at Michigan. They're going to beat Michigan State. And I had them beating Purdue.
Wow.
Yeah, I got them beating Purdue. I got them winning at Indiana. I have them winning at against Northwestern. And yeah, they are losing to Wisconsin. They are losing to Penn State. They are losing to Ohio State. And then they got Rutgers. And they're going to beat Rutgers. Oh, sorry. Whoa, I totally forgot about this. I have them dropping the game to Indiana.
You had them losing against Indiana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Indiana's one conference win. And this is why. This is where inconsistency comes into play. Win against Charlotte, L against SMU, loss against Michigan. Come back, beat Michigan State randomly. Beat Purdue, and then you fall off the face of the planet and lose
you
to
lose to
Illinois.
Indiana. Yeah, I could.
Sorry.
That's so Maryland. That would
Yeah.
definitely happen.
No. And then after that bye week, they just got it rough again at Wisconsin, at Penn State, and then they play Ohio State and Rutgers. I have them going 1-3 in that stretch. But yeah, I have them going 6-6, finishing 5-4, finishing 4th in the conference.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Like, I mean, these teams in the Big Ten, man, are just like you really got only a couple powerhouse schools, and then everybody else is like kind of level of the same.
Yeah.
Everything. Like anybody could win. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Maryland beats Michigan State, or I mean, I wouldn't even be shocked if they beat Penn State. Like, I mean, you just never know. But all right, so in third, I have finishing in the East. I have Penn State finishing third with a 9-3 record. I think they start out the season with a loss to Purdue. I think they lose to Purdue in West Lafayette. And then I have them beating Ohio, beating Auburn. I have them beating Central Michigan, beating Northwestern, and then coming out of their bye, I have them dropping 2 games to Michigan and Minnesota. And then I have them winning against Ohio State.
Wow.
I think they get it done this year. I mean, and then they win against Indiana. They beat Maryland. They beat Rutgers, and then they beat Michigan State. I think Penn State's gonna shock a lot of people this year, and I think they're gonna finish 9-3 in third place. So, you can call me crazy all you want, but come back when it happens.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'll come back when Kentucky goes 12-0, buddy. Don't you worry.
Yeah, you come back right here when Kentucky goes 12-0.
Yeah, well, I will. We'll talk. It'll be the first thing we talk about the Sunday after show on the first game they lose for sure. Anyways, I also have Penn State finishing third in the East. This is where you get into your powerhouses, I think, especially this year. Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. I got Penn State finishing third. I do have them losing that Thursday night game at Purdue. I already talked about that one. I mean, you have them losing that one as well. I have them beating Ohio. I do have them going into Jordan-Hare and beating Auburn.
Yeah.
I gave my thoughts on Auburn last week. I have them finishing last in the West. I don't think they're going to be worth a dang.
I don't think Zach Calzada is going to be that guy for him.
I just don't think they're good at all. They got Tank Bigsby and a bunch of guys wearing Navy. Like they're just not good.
Yeah.
And I do think Penn State. I think this is going to be a big win for James Franklin. So, got them winning that. I have them beating Central Michigan. I have them beating Northwestern, and then they come off a bye. I got them taking a loss to Michigan in Ann Arbor. I do have them beating Minnesota. I do have them losing to Ohio State. I have them losing to Ohio State, and then I think they finished the year, their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games at Indiana, Maryland, at Rutgers, Michigan State, 5-0, finishing with a 9-3 record, 6-3 in the conference. And I do think all around, Penn State's always going to have a pretty solid team.
Yeah.
James Franklin, great coach.
Great
I think he just got an extension as well. He's all in. I do have my feelings towards James Franklin for his times at Vandy, and he does seem to be a crybaby sometimes, but that's neither here nor there. He's still a really good football coach. His players love him. They buy in. The whiteout is something special. Playing at Beaver Stadium, something special. I really would like to go there and watch a whiteout game. They got Sean Clifford returning. He was looking pretty good. Went down with a leg injury last year. Was out for the season after when they were playing Iowa early on in the season. They lost Jahan Dotson to the NFL this year. But their defense is solid. It's always solid. Their offensive line's always solid. They usually got a pretty decent running back every year, except for, they had Saquon one year, and he was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
They always have one or two decent receivers that can make plays, but I just don't – the question every year for Penn State is, can they get over the hump? And until they can, develop players better than Ohio State, I don't see that happening.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Penn State's going to shock a lot of people this year because they're going to upset Ohio State. Because the only reason I think they beat Ohio State is because it's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And it's at Penn State. Because, I mean, you said that the whiteout game was against Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought the whiteout game would have been the Ohio State.
Well, I thought it would have been too, but I think the universities or not the university, but the students are trying to get it changed. But I do know that they did confirm that the Minnesota game was the whiteout game. I think that's their homecoming game as well.
Yeah.
But,
okay. So
I wouldn't be surprised if the Ohio State Penn State game's the big noon kickoff.
Yeah. So my thing is So let's go back to Penn State and Minnesota and then Penn State and Ohio State. I think they're going to lose one of those games and then they're going to win one of those games. So if Minnesota is the whiteout game, then I think they're going to beat Minnesota. But if I think Ohio State's the whiteout game, then I think they're going to beat Ohio State.
I got you. Yeah. No, which is understandable for sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't care who you are. You're going into freaking University Park and you're freaking no shot you beat Penn State in a whiteout game.
Yeah.
It's impossible. But, all right, well, let's go on to
2-1
first.
Well, we have the same teams. I just don't know if they're in the same order.
Nah, I think they are. They should be. All right, so in second place, I have finishing Michigan. I think Cade McNamara this year, or even Jj Mccarthy. I think Jj Mccarthy is really good. I think he's way better than Cade McNamara is, and I wish Harbaugh would give him a shot over Cade, but I don't know. I just don't see it.
The only defense I have
so
for that is that Cade McNamara is the one that got them to the playoffs last year, and he was the reason why Michigan football got put back on the map and got any recognition.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but you also saw what he did in the game against Georgia. He just looked.
You could have played Jj McCarthy. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah,
that
true.
game was ending in a absolute dismantle.
Yeah,
I
agree. But so I have Michigan finishing 11-1 this year. I have them winning all their games, but I have them losing to Ohio State at the end of the year.
I got you.
And that's what's going to determine the Big Ten East is that Michigan and Ohio State game. Because, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, I just think CJ Stroud and Jackson Smith and Trayvon Henderson and Jordan Addison and all these guys. No, sorry, Jordan Addison plays for USC. Marvin Harrison are just going to be absolute lights out this year. And I just don't see anybody beating them. I just don't see anybody beating them except for Penn State. I think the only game that Ohio State could drop would be to Penn State.
Yeah.
Because it's in Pennsylvania. But who knows? We shall see. So I got Ohio State finishing first and then Michigan finishing second.
Yeah.
But
finishing second at 11-1 and 8-1 in conference are the Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, okay.
I do.
You got me.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to scare you a
got
little
me.
bit. No, I do think they do go 11-1. I'm going to save everybody's time here. Ohio State, I have them winning, and I have them going undefeated. And I do not predict teams to go undefeated. I don't do it, but
it's not
I
fun.
don't see a lot. Yeah, I know it's not fun. You like to choose at least one.
Exactly.
And Michigan's only loss, I do have to Ohio State at the end of the year. As far as they go, Cade McNamara versus Jj McCarthy, I do think McNamara will get the edge at least to start the year.
Yeah, I do too.
But the good thing is that they have the 3 easiest non-con games I've ever seen in my life: Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn.
Hawaii. The Rainbow Warriors.
The Rainbow Warriors. All 3 of those games, that's when they have to figure it out. Because the next week they're playing Maryland. And then after that, you start conference play, against Iowa and Indiana and Penn State. And you cannot wait until the Maryland or Iowa game to figure it out. You can't be playing quarterback, in and out like last year with Florida. We saw how that worked out with Dan Mullen between Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson. It just doesn't work. You need to pick one and stick with it, and you need to figure it out before September 24th in week 4 when they play Maryland.
I agree.
And, Jj McCarthy, he might have more talent, but he also has more years of eligibility. Maybe he needs to develop a little bit more because Michigan has a roster that can go back to the college football playoff this year.
Yeah.
So you don't want to rush something, if he's really not that good, and you don't want to just listen to the fans. And I don't think Jim Harbaugh will. He's not. Speaking of Jim Harbaugh, he
I have a lot of mixed feelings about that man.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny. Up until after last year, it was get Harbaugh out of here. He sucks, which he was not performing well.
No, he wasn't.
But now he's like the greatest thing ever.
Because they beat Ohio State one time.
Yeah, they beat Ohio State one time. Yep, but that's how it is. That's how important that game is to them. They did lose Aiden Hutchinson on defense, second overall pick to the Lions, but excuse me, I don't think
they didn't lose that many.
They didn't lose that. Yeah, they got Jalen Harrell and Mike Morris also playing defensive end and edge rusher. And I think both of those guys are going to fill that role. I think especially Jalen Harrell, he's pretty dang good. I think their defense is still very well-rounded.
I agree. I think they are too.
Blake Corum, their running back, he almost rushed for 1K last year, or I should say 1,000 yards, be more professional. They also got Donovan Edwards, who's a very good receiving back out of the backfield, who rushes for, a lot of yards as well. Yeah. I think they could potentially make the playoff. I got them going 11-1. Their one loss to Ohio State, and since Ohio State, I have them going 12-0. They would make the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
But like we saw with Alabama in 2016, or 2017, I should say. Sorry. When Georgia won the SEC, Alabama didn't make the championship game. They won 11-1, still got the 4th seed. I could definitely see that being Michigan, but, it just depends on whatever else is going on, in other conferences and leagues or whatnot. And
I agree.
So I'm just going to save everybody's time. Everybody knows I have Ohio State 12-0. I mean, perfect season. Unbelievable talent on the offensive side of the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Even on defense, I think they're pretty good. I think the reason why I have them going to undefeated is they added Jim Knowles. He was a former defensive coordinator at Oklahoma State. He's very, very highly touted as a coach, and especially defense. I think adding him and Ryan Day saying, you go do it. You do it. You do the recruiting. You line them up where you want them to. I mean, Oklahoma State had the best defense in the Big 12 last year. They were holding, some high-powered offenses to 20 and 30 points a game, which is just unheard of in the Big 12 for the past 3 years. And I think that hire is what's going to do them in and, get them 12-0. We can talk about Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith and Jigba, Trayvon Henderson. They're just all so good. The offensive line's great as always. They're a great team. I think, last year Ohio State's defense was the only reason why they didn't make the playoff and why they didn't beat Michigan, why they didn't beat Oregon. It was their defense. That was the only thing holding them back. Maybe, you could say, that Oregon game for Stroud wasn't good. He wasn't fully developed. I mean, that understandable, but the defense.
Yeah, the guy was a freshman last year.
Yeah, I think he's a sophomore.
He was a sophomore? I thought he might have been. Yeah, he might have been. I thought he was.
Yeah, no, he's redshirt sophomore. He learned under Fields.
Okay.
But, yeah, no, I think with the addition of Jim Knowles, Ohio State, they're going 12-0. And I think they're going to beat Michigan. Ryan Day said they have 3 goals. Beat Michigan, win the Big Ten, win the national championship. He said that on Big Ten Media Day. I got them doing 2 of the 3. I do have them beating Michigan at the end of the season. I do have them beating Minnesota in the Big Ten championship. I have them being the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. So
it would be a hot take for me to say that I think they conquer all 3.
Ooh. Yeah. We'll get into that more.
Yeah, we will. But
yeah,
man, I got Ohio State plays Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship, and I think Ohio State just beats the brakes off them, man. Because there's no way that Wisconsin keeps up with this offense.
Yeah.
And I think the only defense that could keep up with this offense would be the Alabama defense.
I think Georgia.
Georgia, yeah.
Well,
but
maybe
I think Georgia
from
lost many guys.
Georgia from last year, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia this year, I still think I think people were so pleased and spoiled with how good that defense was last year that this defense is still going to be just as good. It's just not going to live up to the same expectation. No. Oh, another sleeper defense we'll talk about on Saturday in the ACC, Clemson. I think they have the best defense in the nation.
Wow.
They definitely have the best front 7, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Over Bama?
Over Bama. I do have them. And I think, like I said, I told you one of the things I was most excited looking forward to this year was the Alabama defense and how I think they're going to give Georgia's defense last year a run for their money.
Yeah.
I think Clemson's is better.
Wow. That's a hot take. That is a steaming take, but I love it.
We'll get into that more next in a few days on Saturday. Yeah.
Yep. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. Well, you got anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I was going to, ask you the same questions that we did last time.
All right.
Who took the biggest step forward, who took the biggest step back, and then who's your dark horse from each division to take it home?
I mean, I think – so I'm going to start out with dark horse. I think Nebraska is definitely a dark horse.
Yeah, so I would consider Nebraska a dark horse just because of how bad they've been recently.
Yeah.
They're
going to have a winning season this year.
No, they are my dark horse as well for the West.
Yeah, and then in the East, I have Penn State because, I mean, I think James Franklin. Yeah, James Franklin is an amazing coach, and he's got great guys all around him, and he's doing the right things at Penn State.
Yeah,
so I
also have Penn State and the East.
Yeah.
Do you think I was going to say Maryland though?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Maryland.
No, they're way too inconsistent.
Yeah.
Michigan State, if they want to pull another rabbit out of the hat, I'm not considering Michigan or Ohio. No, obviously not Ohio State, but
because would
say a team that people might be sleeping on that has a chance to win the division would be Penn State.
Yeah, that's me. That's what I think too.
Yeah,
absolutely. But the team. All right, so the teams that I think are taking a step forward.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about it. Nebraska is going to go from a non-winning season for the past what? When was the last time they had a winning season? Do you remember?
Nebraska?
Yeah. A long time ago.
It was a long time ago. I think it was 7 years ago.
Yeah. So I think this year will be the year that they get things together and they have a winning record. So I think that's my team of pick to say that they're going to have a step forward.
I guess my biggest step forward would probably be Nebraska as well. But I was going to say Minnesota, but I think Minnesota won 7 or 8 games this year, and they might end up doing that again. Nebraska won 3 games. I have them winning 5 more than that. I have them doubling their wins. So obviously I have Nebraska taking the biggest step forward in the Big Ten. Yeah,
me too. Me too. All right, buddy.
Yeah,
Let's
hang
go.
on. One more. I got Michigan State taking the biggest step back because I do have them going
Okay.
7-5, and they
I
finished
mean,
11-2 last year.
I'm right there with you because like they won games because of Kenneth Walker. Like you can't.
Like that Michigan should have gone undefeated last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead, they were playing quarterback hokey pokey, and Kenneth Walker made them pay.
Yeah.
There was
Kenneth
no
Walker
reason
just
Michigan
ran
shouldn't
the
have
rock
won.
down their throat.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, man.
All right.
All right, man.
Well, this one went a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
all good. We got in when we needed to. That's
Yep.
what's important. So,
Yes, sir. Well, all right, man.
all right. Anything
Catch you
else?
later. No, I'm good. You good?
All right. No, I'm good. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. See you on Saturday.
See you, buddy.